Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing on this Monday morning? Hopefully you're all doing very, very well. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. Massive thank you to everyone that has recently subscribed, and of course the old subscribers. We did get to the magic target of 30,000 on the weekend, and it feels good to get to 30,000. Obviously we're going to set new targets now. What is it, 35, 40, 50,000? That would be crazy. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone that has recently subscribed. All right. Let's get into this video. Let's start with the main topic, Dillian Whyte. What next? Obviously, I watched the fight back, and I don't think Dillian was as bad as I first thought when watching it live. He could have done a lot better, but I do think Tyson Fury was just too good. So I don't think it's a mixture of, was it Dillian Whyte too bad or Tyson Fury too good? And I kind of feel like it's in the middle. I don't think Tyson Fury was as good as people are saying, oh my God, Tyson Fury is a GOAT and all this kind of talk. But I do think Dillian Whyte could have done better, but I also think Tyson Fury just negated everything that Dillian Whyte was going to do. And I think that was the big problem for Dillian Whyte. He didn't land enough punches. I think his punch stats are really bad. I think it was something like under 30 punches landed, which is surprisingly bad. He landed good to the body in the first couple of rounds. Like his jab to the body I thought was pretty good. He landed a couple of big right hands to the body as well. Nothing really upstairs. I'm trying to think of any time where he caught Fury clean upstairs. Nothing really. I mean, when he did try and go upstairs, it was very wild. It was very reminiscent of Dillian Whyte of old or Deontay Wilder when, like, obviously we know Deontay Wilder's got that wonderful straight right hand, but when he kind of sees you on the rope and he just swings for the fences, it's very, very wild. And Dillian Whyte at times got a bit wild like that. But in the end, look, he just got beat by, look, I'm definitely not the best heavyweight of all time. Let's calm down with that talk. But he definitely got beat by the best heavyweight of this era. And I guess there's no shame in that. I mean, the team are going to have to go and look at what they can improve on. Dillian Whyte got caught with the uppercut again. And look, I don't want to repeat myself, but that's the same uppercut or the same punch you got caught with Povetkin, same punch with AJ, same punch with Oscar Rivas. So there clearly is a problem there. Maybe it's a case of him sort of just falling over his feet a bit. I don't know, but they're going to need to work on that. But look, if you're Dillian Whyte, you got your world title shot. That would have been the dream. You got paid well. I think you got paid, what was it, $7.1 million or something? What's that, £5.5 million? It's not bad. It's not bad at all. You got to fight in front of 94,000. So look, there's a few boxes ticked for Dillian Whyte. Obviously, he would have wanted to become world champion, but it's not easy. It shouldn't be easy. This is the elite level of boxing to become world champion in the heavyweight division. I know some people will say that there's been some shit world champions in recent times when you think of the likes of Charles Martin and Bermane Stiverne. But right now, the champions are Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, and it doesn't get more harder than that. It doesn't. I mean, to go through those guys to win a title, good luck. Honestly, good luck. What next for Dillian Whyte? There's been some people saying things like retirement, which I think's ridiculous. I know he's 34 and he's taken a bit of punishment, but not retirement. And even if it was, let's say Dillian Whyte did say, you know what, I'm done. Dillian Whyte for me is overachieved. Overachieved massively. If you were to have told me when AJ stopped him that guy was going to go on, fight for a world title, make millions, headline pay-per-views, sell out arenas, I'd have said you're mad. I'd have said you are crazy. There's no chance. And he's done that. He's done that. So look, he can look back on his career and it's a very, very solid career. It is. Not everyone's going to, get to Mount Rushmore. Not everyone's going to become a Hall of Fame boxer. Not everyone's going to win world titles, especially in the heavyweight division. It just, it shouldn't happen like that. But Dillian Whyte's been very close. He's been in big fights. He's won some big fights. Parker was a big fight. Derek Chisora was a big fight, the second one. Povetkin, the rematch, was a big fight. So he's won some big fights and he's lost some. This is how the cookie crumbles sometimes. It's how the cookie crumbles. If I'm Dillian Whyte, and a lot of people have spoken, I think because Tyson Fury said that Dillian Whyte will become a world champion, I don't believe that will happen because I think the guys that are the champions, obviously Fury and Usyk, but then there's the guys below. We don't know what's going on Wilder, but AJ. And then there's other guys coming up, Joe Joyce's of the world, the Hergovich. Joseph Parker looked really good against Chisora. So I think the path to a world title is going to be difficult. If I'm Dillian Whyte at 34, it's about fun fights. It's about fun fights that A, make me money, B, I get up for, and C, put bums on seats. And Dillian Whyte's the kind of character where I think he can still achieve all those three things. So for me, you're looking at people like Chisora trilogy. That should be one they're thinking about. A Chisora trilogy, I think, will be interesting. I mean, both of those guys, it just works, doesn't it? It just works between them. Then you got people like Michael Hunter, who's almost been frozen out a bit. I think it's a perfect fight for Dillian Whyte. Again, it's a fun fight. The winner or loser of Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz, it looks like that fight will be made very, very soon. And maybe even, again, winner or loser of Joseph Parker, Joe Joyce. So there are so many fights for him to have. There's a lot of money left on the table. He didn't take punishment, really, did he, from Tyson Fury? You'd rather be stopped the way he was stopped than a concussive beatdown. You'd rather that. So he's okay. He's okay. I think they might need to look at the training setup. And this isn't a dig at his trainer, Xavier Miller. I just feel like maybe it's not working. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you can get a good trainer and a good boxer, and it just doesn't sink, you know. And I feel like that's what's happening, because I'm still seeing Dillian make, I feel, basic mistakes, like basic boxing mistakes. And look, who am I, fucking on a green chair, never boxed professionally, to tell Dillian Whyte he's making basic mistakes? But I feel like what I'm seeing from Dillian Whyte, I shouldn't be seeing now. You know, this isn't a guy that's just come out of the amateurs and is turning pro. This is a guy that's been pro for a long time. He's been in sparring camps with good fighters. He's had good trainers. He shouldn't be making those mistakes. You know what? Another name that has just popped up in my brain that I think could be interesting in a year's time: Dillian Whyte versus Lawrence Sokoli. Think about that while I have a little sip of my latte. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? I think that in a year's time, maybe even less than that, that could be a very interesting matchup. I mean, Dillian Whyte obviously look massive. I mean, 18 stone, Lawrence Sokoli. You know, I've had Lawrence Sokoli in here. As much as people say he's a heavyweight, he's tall, but he's not a heavyweight like these heavyweights. These heavyweights are just giants. He's as tall as them, but he's not as thick as them. He's not at all. But yeah, that could be interesting. We've all seen their footage of their sparring session. I think Lawrence Sokoli even called out Dillian Whyte, didn't he, about a year and a bit ago? So that's there. But look, he's got loads of options. Tyson Fury, on the other hand, obviously, look, he announced his retirement. And I think in his head, he has retired. Honestly, I think he has retired. And look, with boxers, it's so easy to say you're retired because you fight once every 7 or 8 months. So he might say he's retired and we don't see him do anything for 5 months. AJ beats Usyk. Trust me, he's unretiring himself just like that. Because you're talking about a fight that's worth hundreds of millions. Hundreds. It really is going to be the biggest, and I hate to repeat myself, but I'm going to. It's going to be the biggest sporting event this country has seen for a while. If AJ were to fight Tyson Fury, it'll be massive. Honestly, it's a shame that it will be in a stadium, because there is no stadium big enough. Like, you almost need it on a field, like a Glastonbury field. Like, it's too big. It's too big. But yeah, I think that fight, it's not even the money. It's not even necessarily the money, because Tyson Fury's made some good money. AJ's made some great money. It's just the magnitude. You want to be involved in a fight of that magnitude. So when it is all said and done, and you look back 20 years' time, you're like, yeah, I was involved in the biggest fight of all time, for this country at least. That's what you want, right? It's almost a bit like Muhammad Ali and Rumble in the Jungle. You never, like, you want to be involved in these things because they're just different. And that's why I feel like AJ Fury will happen if, obviously, AJ gets past Usyk. Again, no fight announcement date yet. You know, I've been hearing whispers about July, like early July, and here we are now coming to the end of April. So I don't know, starting to wonder if that fight's even going to happen. I don't know what's going on. You'd think that if a fight was going to happen in July, you'd know now. You'd know now. All right, let's see if there's any news before we wrap and go to work. Canelo, I'd like to be undisputed at 175. Let's see. That's interesting, because that suggests to me that he wants to stay at the weight, obviously, if you're going to be undisputed. I do wonder if the GGG fight's going to happen. I wonder if is it sort of guaranteed? Is it in a contract that GGG will get the fight? Because look, if you want to stay undisputed, you got Joe Smith versus Beterbiev coming up soon. You fight the winner of that in September, as opposed to fighting GGG if he gets past Dimitri Bivol, which again, no gimme, no gimme. Fury, I want Wilder to fight for the vacant WBC title. He's second best heavyweight. Like, Fury has said this, that he thinks that Wilder can beat Usyk and AJ and obviously all the rest. Let's see if Fury vacates. If Fury is serious, vacate now. If you're serious about I'm done, blah, 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 vacate right now, and then we'll see. We'll see. Let me see who is the WBC heavyweight rankings. Who would fight for the belt? Let's have a quick look. Where are we? WBC. Okay, Dillian Whyte, who's just had his shots. It won't be Dillian Whyte. Wilder is number 1. Joe Joyce number 2. Wouldn't mind seeing that. Parker's number 3. AJ's not even in the top 10 because he doesn't really fight for them, does he? But yeah, okay. Wilder number 1. Joe Joyce number 2. Very strange how Wilder, who has just lost for the WBC heavyweight title, is number 1 in the rankings. Like, how does that make any sense? How can you lose and then go to number 1? Like, surely you lose, you go back, at least go outside the top 5. Very strange. But look, I would love Deontay Wilder to return. I would. I think there are so many good fights out there for him. And I feel like look, Fury could be right. He could be. I mean, you'd favour Wilder over Whyte. At this stage, I think you'd favour Wilder over AJ. We need to see something. We need to see that spite from AJ back. Before, you would have said it was a shootout. Now, I think you'd favour Wilder. But then again, the beating Wilder took from Fury, who knows what Wilder's like. Wilder-Usyk's interesting. It really is, because Wilder's always been undersized. Always. If you go and look at the weights of Wilder versus Fury, Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale, Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, he's always undersized. But because he's so big in terms of height, we never talk about it. But in terms of weight, I mean, he's punching way above his weight, trust me. Against Usyk, he'll finally have someone that's the same size as him. That'd be an interesting matchup. My head says me Usyk would just outbox, but then there's always that, if Wilder lands one, if Wilder lands on Usyk, I don't care how elusive or how much we think Usyk's got a chin, he's getting knocked out. If Wilder lands clean with that, he's getting knocked out. That power ain't a joke, you know, that power ain't a joke. Tyson Fury, there's a lot of money to be made, but I've never been a money person. Fight for free then. Nonsense. And I saw that interview. It was in the post-fight press conference, and he was saying things like that, but I don't know. Dillian Whyte, it was a close fight. I wasn't outclassed, but one slip and I got caught. You know, I can understand why he thinks that, because it's not like he was taking any punishment. Like, there wasn't a time where you feel like, oh, this is getting too much for Dillian Whyte. It wasn't. So I can understand why he thinks that. But if you watch it back, although one judge did give Dillian Whyte 2 rounds, by the way, but if you watch it back, it just looked like it was, like Fury was starting to get into that groove and it almost became inevitable. Like, the first round was close, then after that, for me, Whyte wasn't doing much, and I thought, okay, Fury's just starting to win the battle of the jabs. He started to land a couple of big right hands, Fury as well. And when Whyte got in close, he started to time up. It was starting to become a Fury fight. It really was. I was there yesterday for Ricky Hatton. I interviewed Ricky Hatton for TalkSport. Ricky Hatton announcing that he's going to have a fight, an exhibition fight against Marco Antonio Barrera. Make of it what you will, these exhibition fights, but he'll have one. Diego Sanchez is going to fight Dan Hardy, and there's a couple other fights on the card as well. Look, the appetite for these exhibition fights is clearly there. If you're the fighters, you know, like most sports do have like a senior kind of tour, don't they? If you're a golfer, you can still play golf. If you're a basketball player, you can still play basketball, football. These fighters just want to continue to do what they do. Obviously, unfortunately, you can't play boxing, but there is the appetite. Ricky Hatton will do good numbers. Fans seem to still like him, so people are going to continue to do him. we'll see. I asked Ricky, is it going to be one, or are you wanting to have a few? And he said he'll see how this one goes. So look, we'll see. We'll see what you can do. Devin Haney, I should inspire young, old guys. Other side of the street stuff out the window. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Obviously, he's referring to the fact that he was, or still is, I'm not quite sure, with the zone, and he's gone over to Top Rank to make this fight happen. It is good to see because so many fights have been stalled because of this nonsense. So many. But let's see. I think if I'm a fighter today, a good fighter, I'm not signing any long-term contract with anyone. Literally, it's a fight-by-fight contract, which is risky because if you lose, there's a problem. But in order to make the fights happen, at the maximum, you sign a 2-fight deal. All this 6, 7, 8 fights is nonsense. And I think we're going to see fighters in the future, sort of less and less fighters are going to sign long-term deals with broadcasters and promoters because it enables you to go where the best fights are and make the best fights. All this stuck in a contract and then you're with a broadcaster who doesn't work with that broadcaster, with that promoter, doesn't talk to that promoter. It's a lot of bullshit, isn't it? Sergey Kovalev, Hall of Fame is not my goal, but I'll be happy if I'm inducted. Does Kovalev make it into the Hall of Fame? It's a good question, that, you know. Not sure. Obviously, look, so many title defenses. How many title defenses did Kovalev have? In my head, I'm guessing he had about 8. And then obviously he lost to Ward. A fight he won. He didn't lose that first fight. Or sorry, was it a draw or a loss? He didn't lose that fight. He won that fight. Yeah, he lost the unanimous decision. All right, let's, how many defenses? Because he came over and beat up Nathan cleverly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. But look, what are the standout names on there? Nothing really. There's nothing really. No, he's not going to make it, unfortunately. I mean, it's strict, and he's got a 50-year-old Bernard Hopkins in there, Jean Pascal twice, Isaac Chilemba, Blake Caparello, who put him down. I remember that fight. There's not enough on there, and it's a shame because in that period between 2013 and 2016, it's not enough. 3-year runs, not enough. But in that period, he was a fucking boogeyman. He was a boogeyman. I remember Nathan cleverly saying he felt like he was getting hit with a sledgehammer. But it's not enough, unfortunately. So, yeah, he won't go into the Hall of Fame, which is a shame. But it's the Hall of Fame, man. Hall of Fame. What else have we got here? Anything else? Joseph Parker, Joe Joyce. Looks like it's done. Sometime in July. At Stadium. I don't know if Warren's saying it's going to be at a stadium or they're going to think about doing it at a stadium. It's not a stadium fight. I don't even know if that does an arena, unless it's a good undercard. If it's a good undercard, yes, but I don't think it's like Joe Joyce has never been a draw like that. I like Joe Joyce, by the way. I think he's a good fighter. He's definitely impressed me. I definitely didn't think he would be like. Now I look at Joe Joyce and think he's a bit of a problem for anyone. So he's definitely growing on me. But I still don't know if that relates to bums on seats or anything. But it's a great fight. Forget all that shit. It's a great fight. But I don't know if it's pay-per-view. It's certainly not a stadium. But it's a great heavyweight fight. 2 guys in the top 10, both going that way up as well. Joseph Parker coming off that good win against Chisora looks a lot better under Andy Lee. Joe Joyce just a wrecking machine. Really, really good fight. Love it. All right, guys. I think that is it. I think we are done. Yes, we are. Peace and love.